Hello, greetings, dear ones. This is part 2 to my yesterday's video, which was on the hidden contracts that we have in our relationships, and this is what I am mentioning as to the blueprint of life. This is how life on earth functions, because we are born with some purpose, and the actual purpose of bringing us to this earth plane is this pattern, this blueprint, which we call it in other terms karma. So, karma is a bigger word, but if you actually dig deeper into this word karma, or how this karma acts between two people, and how relationships are formed, and how they relate to each other, then you will find this is the blueprint, which I mentioned yesterday in the video, the hidden invisible contracts. So we are signing actually these contracts, and if you have not seen this video, you can see this video with the same name as part 1. This is part 2. Why I'm making this part 2 is because I got a message relating to the video 1, and there seemed to be a little more query about it, more understanding needed. And yesterday I talked extensively. I think it's a 30-minute video where deeply we talked about how these imprints actually we get it from birth itself, which is with our first contract with our parents. First contract in the sense for this lifetime, for one particular lifetime in the whole series of lifetime that we have in the time frame. So it begins from there, from birth. The conditioning begins, the practices, the whole drama starts unwinding depending on the blueprint, and we make it unconsciously very strong. Instead of unwinding, we actually get hooked on to that blueprint, and we end up creating our life based on that blueprint. And as we grow up into adults, we start developing these or creating more relationships based on these kind of blueprints, the kind of what we grossly called as conditioned behavior, or conditioned belief system. These are all stemming again from these invisible patterns, which we might not actually look into consciously. Only spiritual aspirants, and only those who are more interested in unwinding this journey and finding the secrets of life, and trying to go beyond life and death, and trying to understand who am I, from where do I come, and where am I going, and if I am a human being and I am taking the soul, how do I end up here, and how do I how am I born, the Brahma, and how do I sustain myself throughout life or lifetimes, that is Vishnu, and how do I come to an end of each lifetime, which is Rudra or Shiva. So understanding this gives us more deeper insights into life, and this is not a cup of tea for a good cup of tea for casual persons who want to understand it. Why I'm saying this is because the question came up that if we come to know about, okay, these are the blueprints or invisible contracts that we have, and how our parents are unconsciously putting us or pulling us into this contract, and the game is played with us, and we learn those patterns, and then we end up creating more such relationship patterns which are meaningless. And once we come to know, the question was, once we come to know, oh, this is how our people have done to us, won't we feel traumatized, won't we feel victimized, or won't they be targeted, and how will relationships be after knowing these things? And once people start looking into this, is this judgment and all this? Okay, so that's the reason I'm making this part 2. These are not condemning, actually. I told you, this is not everybody's cup of tea, and this is for serious seekers. And so serious seekers will actually dig deeper into it. Why they dig deeper? It is not out of curiosity, because this is a very tough game. If you want to actually unwind, if you want to go deeper into that, the aspects of this blueprint, it's not easy. I told you it's very painful, it's very stressful, it can be very overwhelming to understand, and to feel victimized, and to feel, oh my God, it exposes ourselves, it exposes everyone that we know, it exposes wherever we look at life, it exposes life itself. And it might not be in a good taste, because we have been believing this is life. We have been believing that this is what we see is true. And what I'm trying to explain is nothing but Maya. I'm trying to explain the play of this cosmic consciousness, the illusory play. When you look deeply into these imprints, deeply into the structure of how these things are, it doesn't look real. And suddenly we become aware of, oh my God, I've been living a false life. I've been into false relationships. You question your existence, you question the meaning of life, the meaning that you have been thinking that this is life. You are asked to re-question those things, and those point you towards deeper truths, higher truths, what I call. And as I told you, the casual people will not do it, because they will not be motivated or inspired to dig deeper into this. First of all, they will not believe there is something like this. So you first got to have a motivation to get into all these things, and your motivation is your seeking of liberation. The people who are on the path of liberation will definitely want to unwind all this nonsense and get going with seriously with what is the truth. The question for a seeker on the path of liberation is always, what is the eternal truth? What is the falseness of this illusion? Why is this illusion? Why is this called Maya when it looks so real? It looks so real. Everything looks so real. You are in love with one person, and that love is so real. It looks so real. You have parents, you have children, you have siblings, you have families. It all looks so real. And then, if I tell you, no, look deeper, they're all based on false foundations. They don't have a base. They are like castles built in sand. It might be shocking. So, the casual people who listen to this will definitely say, oh, what nonsense is this? And they will not ponder further into it. So, anyhow, it's not going to impact them to understand or study further. And the seekers who are wanting to look into, and when they look into and they come to a shock, it's like a revelation of, oh my God, the first thing that they can get a shock about is, oh my God, I never knew about this, I never thought about this. Okay, so that will help one, that should help one go deeper and understand. And I'm telling you, if the aspirants are serious aspirants and they know the game, why they are here, why are you here? You are here to unwind, you are here to finish off karmic debts. What is a debt? It's a give and take. Either you have to give to someone or you have to take. That's all, as simple as that. Life is as simple as that. You meet somebody in a certain lifetime, or you are tied up to somebody in a certain lifetime, you are born into somebody in a certain lifetime, or someone is born through you in a certain lifetime. All that you got to do with that person is a give and take. Either that person has come to give or take, or both. So once we understand the fundamentals of life, now it's easy. Okay, we have come to give and take, but I'm stuck. The give and take is so serious, it looks so real, and I get stuck into this all the time. And what do I mean by get stuck into this? That is called attachment. You're born into it, and when you take what is not true as very serious and real, it turns into attachment. The root cause of attachment is you taking the false things for real. You taking Maya for real is what causes attachment. You get attached to it. You get attached to the idea that this is real, and you can't hook off of that particular thing that you see or feel is true and is real and is going to be, when you feel it's real, see, whatever is real has to be eternal. Please understand this. Whatever is true, whatever is the truth is always eternal. That is why I always refer to as eternal truth. It cannot be defied, it cannot be changed. It exists forever, it's immortal. So, indirectly, when you're looking at somebody in your relationship and when you're saying that this is a real relationship or this person is real or this tie is a very real tie, you are only saying that this is eternal, this relationship is eternal, this relationship is immortal, which is not real. You know that every relationship or a certain play, an act, ends with death in every lifetime. If it is not acted properly and the give and take is not neutralized, what happens is, if you keep anything pending, either the give or take, you have to carry forward and come again to play this game with the same person in a different body, in a different role perhaps, but you got to still play the game until you neutralize it, until you understand how to neutralize it. If you do not, you carry forward. And this is how we tumble lifetime after lifetime, which is what we call janam and punar maran. Again, repetitive birth and repetitive death. We are caught up in this birth and death cycle. This is what all the Shastras explain to us. This is all what the higher scriptures talk to us about. So I am just talking a different language, the same truth. I am putting it in something that can be perceived now. I am trying to explain it in that form, which is easy to understand, this Maya. So it might help you in that manner. This is what I am seeing through when I am looking and digging deep, and how over these years, I have been able to come to certain kind of detachment with certain relationships or certain people or certain things, or places. We get attached to it because it seems real. Now, how do you actually look into it and know how unreal it is by having the courage to look into this blueprint and understand how hoax, it's all a hoax. So when you understand this, like in part 1, I am not repeating it. So it's a very interesting topic. If you want, you can look into it, if those who have not seen it. And I would suggest you see that first and then come to this. It will be easily understood. So once you understand that, oh, this is the whole thing about, and once it's all clear to you how unreal it is, it doesn't make much sense to you now. Now you see the whole game as meaningless. And when it becomes meaningless, it loses its grip on you. We are talking about detachment. What is detachment? You cannot detach just like that. You must have tried. See, I'll talk to you today very practical spirituality. I'm talking very practical spirituality. We often talk about accepting everyone the way they are, forgiving everybody very easily, quickly, and loving everyone unconditionally. You know how difficult these three things are? It is not possible until you understand how baseless the thing, or how false that which looks real is, to get into that frame of mind, to accept, to forgive, to have unconditional love towards it. Unconditional love means what? No conditions. Conditions will come only, unconditional love will come only when you understand the falseness. You understand it is not real. You lose the grip of that. When you lose the grip of that which you have caught so dearly to you, which is attachment, when you lose the grip, what I am telling is, you become detached. The detachment begins. Okay, you detach from that thing. And the more detached you are to a certain thing, the easy it is to accept that thing the way it is. And the more detached you are to a certain thing or person or place, the more easier it is to forgive and let go. You cannot let go if you see that very real, and you get attached to it. If you're attached to it, if it is real, you're getting attached to it. And if you're attached to it, It looks real. Because it looks real, that means you're saying that it's eternal, that's forever. And that is the illusion which we think this is forever. But once you understand it's not forever, it's very mortal, it's very limited, it's very finite, it's going to go as soon as this body perishes. If this life comes to an end, mine or theirs, or this thing comes to an end, whatever possessions that we have, it's very temporary. We understand it's not permanent. We are not going to take it anywhere. It's not going to come with us anywhere. How? By looking into these blueprints. Then you understand the temporariness. And then it becomes very easy to lose grip over that attachment. When you lose grip, that's detachment. And once you are detached, it's very easy to forgive. It's very easy to let go. It is very easy to accept that thing or that person the way they are. Because you have no hold over it. You know it's a passing illusion. Get it? And if these things are very apt for you, then there is no conditions. Conditions can come only when you are holding on to something. Contract. That is why I use the word contract. Contract means you have come together, signed up something together to play the game together. When you have signed up together, then that means you are attached. You are bonded with that. There is grip over that. You have a grip over it. But when everything fades out, you lose the grip. And when you lose the grip, and the conditions also come when there is a contract. See, contract itself means conditions. There are conditions apply. With every contract that you sign in the gross world, you see, any field, any kind of contract, you will see there are conditions. Ifs and buts are there. And based on those conditions, the contract, the agreement is signed. Once the conditions are broken, the contract becomes invalid. I told in part 1 how suddenly you see somebody has betrayed your trust, and when you are betrayed that trust, somebody has betrayed, what will happen is you will feel betrayed, you will feel depressed, you will feel angry, remorse. Why? Because somebody has betrayed you, somebody has become disloyal, and somebody has broken the contract. And when you break the contract, what happens is, first thing that comes to your mind is punishment, compensation. When the contract is broken, first thing that you want is to take a compensation. That seeking for compensation is what makes vengeance birth. The vengeance comes from there. The act, the demand for a compensation, the betrayal. Now the revenge comes from there, because now I am going to take back what has been given or what has been snatched from me. You see the whole ball game now. It's very clear. So this is what I mean by signing up of the contracts and opening up, looking into it by reflection. Through the gift of awareness, all this becomes possible to look at it. And because when you just stare it with an eye of awareness, it's enough. Rest all just opens up. You don't have to put your logic there. I'm telling you, if you have practiced awareness enough, you don't have to be a person who is always in awareness, or you don't have to be very saintly. You can be living a normal life. You can be a person who tumbles the next moment, but have certain awareness you have developed or you have practiced. That's enough. Because when you go into that zone of awareness, everything just reveals itself. And all these insights happen to you. Now, coming to the point where that person said, how will I feel? How will the other person feel? It can cause problem in our relationships. See, if we are still in that mode of, the truth is revealed and a problem is going to be caused in the relationship, that means we are still stuck in that illusion, and we have not looked at it from the point of what the real intention of looking into this is. What is the real intention of looking into this? Because I want to understand detachment. I do not want to suffer in this play of consciousness, which I have always been suffering. If you see, very honestly, I'm telling you, the most suffering comes from relationships. The most suffering, you take any relationship, even from childhood to adulthood, you see, even in the families, the sufferings, if they all come from a certain relationship. And relationship means expectation, 100%. Expectations can be there only where there are conditions. When it is not having any conditions, it's unconditional, there cannot be expectation. And when there is no expectation and there is no conditions attached, then I'm telling you, detachment is very obvious. See how interlinked they are, intermingled they are, interlinked they are. Any way you take it, you see it from the point of detachment, automatically you will see there are no conditions. And if you see there are no conditions, there is no grip over it, and it's easier to, okay, accept the truth. This is the truth. Easily you will accept. You don't have to struggle to accept the truth. And when you can accept easily, then you will accept that person the way that person is. Why can you accept the person the way? Now you have seen the blueprint, and now you understand, okay, so they are functioning like you understand about yourself. Okay, I have been functioning in this way. I have been born and brought up in this way. I have been programmed in this way by my ancestors, by my parents, by the society that I live in, which is all false. And today I come to know I am exposed. Everything around me is exposed. Life is exposed. And then I say, okay, so this is what life is all about. Now I understand the play. Now I am not taking this serious. I'm not taking this game any more serious. And then the spiritual maturity to look into these things and understand, okay, now I understand this game. And now what you'll have is, you'll have something called compassion. See, so many things it is interconnected. All these things that I'm mentioning to you on the spiritual path, we are striving for accepting everyone the way they are without judgment. We are wanting to have unconditional love. We want to forgive. These are the pillars of spirituality. My master always taught about these three things basically. And it's so difficult. The whole life is about mastering these three things. So here I am revealing to you how to get directly through it without beating around the bush. Because if you keep beating around the bush, if you look at duality, if you look at things that are not real as real, and you fall into the pretension that everything is fine, and you take things very seriously, and then you try to work on these principles of accepting, forgiveness, and condition, it's very difficult. It's very difficult because you have still deep-rooted attachment towards it. And attachment, again, expectation. And when there is expectation, there cannot be unconditional love. Where there is expectation, I cannot forgive. I expect you to have done this according to the contract. You are supposed to have done this. This is what you are expected to do, and you have not done it. And expectation not met, acceptation also will not be there. You expect from somebody, you cannot accept what that somebody has done to you. Are you getting it? So this is the catch. This is the catch. So, to whoever asked about can it complicate things further, it can complicate if you are not approaching this fact in the right sense. Out of curiosity, if you just try to find out, then yes, you're not. If you're not prepared to understand the truth, eternal truths, it can always complicate you. Then it's just like we are told that you do not ponder too much on past lives and all that. Why do we have a memory erased? All the memories erased of our all past life. Because you can see, if you remember all your past life, how impossible it would be for you to function. Just imagine you remember that your daughter was your grandmother, or your son was your enemy, or your father was your neighbor who harassed you, or your mother was your daughter-in-law in a past life. And there are multiple lifetimes. Imagine you remember all the rules. How hodgepodge. You cannot function in this present lifetime with all those memories. You will look at this present relationship with the eyes or the roles that you remember with your past life. You know how difficult it is. Imagine you realize that your son was somebody who harassed you all your life in your past life and was behind your life. You look at that person in a different, or imagine your servant was your wife or your husband in a certain life. How would we look into that relationship, current relationship? Everything will change because there is no spiritual maturity. Then you are again drawn into the game of illusion and you mess up things further. That is why the memory is erased. Automatic erasing is there. Erase means from your conscious mind, but subconsciously it's all there. So if you want to tap into those details, yes, after a certain spiritual maturity, it you can tap into it, or even if you don't tap into it, after a certain point of time, it will begin showing up to you. And when does life begin showing up to you? When you are prepared, when you are ready. Only when you are ready, it will show it to you. Are you getting it? So even these details that I am talking to you about, the imprints, the blueprints which are there, invisibly hidden in all these phases of our relationship, will not be revealed to you unless you are ready. So even if you try to just listen to this video and try to look into this, 1 or 2 moment you might think something and they will forget it. It will not happen to you because you are not ready. It will happen to only those people who are ready and ripe enough and mature enough to understand it. Just like the phenomena of past lives comes to you, it will not come, those memories will not come until you are prepared for it. That is why my master used to say, don't go too much into the past life stuff. You don't need to go and find out, because if you're not ready, if you're not mature, and if you try to get into that and you see certain things, you will mess up the current relationships also. So I am very sure it won't happen just because this detail is there. It's not going to happen. But what I'm trying to say is, when a mature person looks very, and I'm telling you, it's a handful of people who will actually do this. When you have the courage to look into yourself, when you have the courage to expose yourself, only then you can expose others. Expose in the sense, expose the play of consciousness, the play that you have with others. What is the role? How serious is that role? And when you look into that from a mature point of view, what happens is, you will gain newer insights, you will gain a different kind of a detachment, without, not that worldly detachment what people normally, the casual seekers or somebody who is very new to this or very spiritual enthusiast, while look into this and say, oh, I'm detached. The spirituality says detachment is important, or Lord Buddha says detachment is everything, and so I quit my family, I leave everybody, and I don't look back. I call that detachment. That's false detachment. That is from an immature point of view. What we have not understood what's detachment. It can only complicate things. So what I'm trying to say is, when you are actually looking into these subtle aspects, it becomes easier to understand detachment in the right way. In the right way means what? You are not escaping that karma. You know that you are bound, you have come in this lifetime, and you are bound with those people, and you are to play the game. You are to play the game. You cannot exit the game just because you have understood it's falseness. But what happens is, you continue staying in the game, but now you stay in the game very maturely. You don't stumble. You don't create further karmas, because now you are living a conscious life, a life of awareness. So now tell me, when you are in the drama, knowing that it is a drama, but you know that you got to complete this drama, what will you do? You will be in the role, but not a very active member. You will passively play the game. You will not be involved or fall into the trap of the dramas of life. You will not be carried and thrown and torn apart and bombarded by the dualities of the pleasure and pain. You understand now. You understand the duality. Oh, this gives me pleasure. Oh, good. So pain is bound to be there. It's pain and pleasure are like the two sides of the coin. Just like any duality, any dual aspect, you cannot separate it. Good, bad. If there is night, there has to be day. If there is rain, there has to be sunshine. If there is a man, there has to be a woman. If there is a plus, there has to be a minus. This is the law. You cannot choose one. You choose one, you get the other free. एक के साथ एक free. One, you buy one, get one free. So you buy into pain, you are bound to get pleasure. You buy into pleasure, you are bound to get pain. That is why in the pursuit of pleasure, in the pursuit of happiness, people also receive the opposites. In the pursuit of pleasure, people also get pain. In the pursuit of happiness, people also experience sorrow. And what spirituality says is, this game will go on, both the principles will go on, and you will get dangled with it, and you will get carried away with this, because this is what keeps us going. The pleasure and the happiness, we feel, oh, this is like, and then you want to stretch it and make it forever, and then you want to avoid the opposite of it. It's going to come back again, then you don't like it. We are in this tumbling game. So now when you understand, what happens is, you move into a central zone. You move into neutrality, because that is non-duality. That is where duality ends. And when the moment you enter into non-duality, then both these don't exist. They don't exist because they don't evaporate, but they become a part of you. It becomes a part of the non-dual stuff. It merges. The dual aspects merge into one. You cannot bifurcate them then. That's non-duality. So that's what begins happening when you get into the neutral zone. And a person who starts getting into the neutral zone will stay awake, conscious, alert, aware, with no reaction to either this or that, plus or minus, good or bad. It's a neutral. They become just the observer, the witness. See, the teachings of witnesshood, drishta bhav, sakshi bhav. How can it happen? It cannot happen until what you understand what I'm trying to see here. Until you shift into the neutral. Until you become neutral, you cannot have sakshi, you cannot witness things. You will become reactive. Are you getting it? See, the multiple dimensions that I'm telling you in this particular video and part 1. So multiple teachings, how it is all rooted in this. So if you work on this, like, you're opening up all multiple things at once. The gifts are multiple, all this. So when you look at things now very neutrally, what happens? Now tell me, coming to your question and query. Now when you understand, okay, your parents, everything is exposed now. You have seen how your parents had signed up a contract and how everybody around is living a selfish life, including myself. We are here to fulfill our purpose, and for that we link up with others, we use others. Very frankly, I'm telling you, this is how we use others to fulfill our journey. To satisfy myself, I have to get into a relation, I have to bond with someone, I have to get into agreement with someone. And only when I want to take something from someone, I get hooked onto a relationship. Please understand this. Please understand this. Any relationship that you get into, there is a seeking for something personal. And you are getting hooked for the desire of that, to get something from there. Forgetting that duality, to get something, you got to give also. So the people who enter very consciously are knowing that, okay, I got to give, I got to take, and I have got to give also. So there's an exchange. That's how beautifully relationships work. There's a give and take. They know there's a give and take. There's duality. You cannot escape. If you only become the taker, then it'll go for a toss. Or if you only become the giver, then it's like you get abused. Then also the relationship doesn't last. So you can see how these things intermingle again. So with this, now when you understand, now your parent or a certain relationship has done something to you, you see the selfishness involved in till now what we call as deep love. This was love, and now you understand there's no love. It was all about the give and take, and somebody or something was trying to always take something from you, and you also in the whole course of the game were trying to not just give but also take something back. And that is why the pain and pleasure principle was happening. And now when you look at it and then you see, oh my God, my parents were doing this to me. How mean. Or my spouse did this to me, my boyfriend did this to me, my girlfriend did this to me, my sibling did this to me. How mean. I was thinking it's love, I was thinking it's real, I was thinking this is something, and this is all this thing is about. Oh my God. See right there. So now what will happen is, if you are in the neutral zone, what I'm talking about, a person who's aware, and I said what will happen in the neutral zone is you will become aware of it, you will become more conscious of it, you will become awake, and you will now watch the whole play without exiting the play, but you will stay there. And now what you will develop is a certain kind of maturity to play the game without actually playing the drama. You'll play it very consciously. You will not react and say, oh, you did this to me, you have been mean to me, you have done this to me and all that. Because if you are doing that, you understand the consequences. You are still doing it in karma. You are still not. You are creating more complications. And that is not what seekers of liberations will ever do. They are very conscious about it because they are keeping every step very carefully. So now what will happen? I'm telling you, another great teaching, another great gift of this whole thing is that comes out is kindness, compassion, empathy. Now you empathize with that person. You look at that person with the eyes of kindness and compassion. You look at your parent and you say, oh my God, this is all revealed. But poor thing, they do not know. Look at this relationship, whatever relationship, oh my God, they are unconsciously doing it. They are not consciously doing it. Poor thing. Poor souls, they do not know. From this point is where Christ, Jesus Christ on the cross, looked at the other persons who were killing him and said, oh Lord, forgive them for they do not know what they are doing. Are you getting? Christ was known for unconditional love. Remember it. He was the master of unconditional love. See the quality, unconditional love. No conditions attached. Detached, and he knows the blueprint. Why somebody is doing what he's doing. They do not know. They are not aware. So he is asking God, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing. They are creating more trouble for themselves by harming me. Karma. So he says, have mercy on them because they do not know. This kind of I will begin, you will begin seeing through this. And this is what I am talking about. The forgiveness will come from there. Forgiveness will come with this kind of a compassion that you have towards what they did to you. You know, it becomes easier. Now you accept that parent, the child, that relationship. You accept that person the way they are. Okay, they are this way because they do not know. Poor thing. So I'm accepting them. They are not doing it anything on purpose. They have no vested interest. They are trapped in their illusion. But I am blessed to have this blessing, this grace of understanding the blueprint. And I have an opportunity now to exit this game without getting caught up in this. And so maturely I look at things and I have now developed a compassion, empathy and kindness towards people. That is why we always say, wherever you look around, there is suffering. Be kind to everybody. Everybody that you look anywhere on the street, anybody that you look into the eyes of some other human being is definitely battling something within themselves. They are all facing some challenge, especially in the current times. If you see, everybody is going through some of the other difficulties, some of the other challenges, deep-rooted. And the current situation is doing it. It's exposing everything actually. And they are all in this dilemma because truths are coming out. Are you seeing it? So it says, be kind to everybody that you see. Anyone your eyes falls on. Do not judge, do not condemn, but have the mercy, have the compassion. Be kind to them. Because what they are doing, they are not aware of what they are doing. You know, I talk so much about oneness. Don't discriminate any other religious people, what they do, how they do. Don't judge, don't condemn, because it's the same principle. They do not know. They are caught up very strongly in the Maya. But you are not caught up, right? If you are not caught up, you will not judge. If you are caught up in the drama, you will end up doing the same thing that they are doing. They have violence, and somebody is having violence, and you discriminate, you condemn them, you judge them. Oh, they are so violent. These people are so violent. What are you doing? You are also being violent. You are doing the same that you do not want others to do. See the complications? But now when you see the blueprint and when you understand, okay, this is how life functioning, everybody is caught up with these things. To hell with this. In this series, I've been making these videos now for a couple of days, and it's all started with being stuck in this body. I made another video being stuck in this body. I feel like I'm stuck in this body because why I said that, you look into that video also. It's an interesting video in the same few days back. So why am I stuck in this body? Because I can see the blueprint. The blueprint is exposed. Everything is exposed, and it looks so meaningless. My God, what are people up to? What am I up to doing in these so many so-called roles and responsibilities and so many entrapments of relationships? What am I doing here? What are these people doing here? And what kind of a game is this again? I have no interest. But karmic, journey, you got to complete. That's what I said. You got to complete it. But now it's all boring. Okay, so all that I knew is walk through it maturely. So there is a feeling that the soul is getting trapped into this. The soul is, I am entrapped because I am a free bird. I am liberated by seeing these impressions and imprints, but still I am bound by the body. See the dilemma? It began with that, a deep thing, a deep feeling of that, and from that day I am making these videos continuously. So you can see one thing of the other. It's just unwinding things. So I'm sharing this actually because it will help you understand life. It will help you understand detachment, the true meaning of detachment. It will help you understand compassion and kindness and empathy. It will make you understand how not to judge others, how not to condemn anything or anybody. It will make you understand very clearly what is forgiveness, how to forgive and let go. It will very clearly make you understand what is unconditional love. When you are seeing through all this, and when you have the capacity to look at that parent, to look at that child, to look at that sibling, to look at anybody that you're related to and say, oh my God, this has happened for this reason, and now I understand all these things. Now I accept that person. I let go. There's no point judging. And when you let go of all these conditions, automatically what flows is unconditional love. Now whatever you do in that relationship can blossom now very beautifully into that unconditional love, where there is no conditions attached. There is nothing like you have to do this, you don't have to do this, or I am bound to do this, I am not bound to do this. Nothing, because you have seen everything is baseless. So that is moving towards unconditional love. That is moving towards actually practicing or experiencing these teachings rather than just memorizing it. What I am trying to say here is the advantage of exposing yourself and exposing life around you is to get deeper into the source of the source. The source of the source is unconditional love. Everything is just, they say it's love and pure love. So how can you actually get into that point? By unwinding out of the matrix. This is what the matrix is about. The whole matrix. The whole matrix is this illusion which is created. So I believe this is a very serious video for the seekers of enlightenment, and not something that will trap you or make you confused or make you fall into a dilemma. Yes, if you are not ready yet, as I told you, if you are not ready on the path of liberation, then you will not take this seriously, because you will feel threatened. That is why I said in part 1, this video will trigger you, warning. Because I know there are many people who got triggered. I can see it. They got triggered because suddenly then you find it offensive, and then they want to trouble me. And then they want to tease me, or they want to pull me down. That's not, again I'm saying, That's not their attack on me. That's their attack on the falseness that they have built in that, and they're living in that illusion, the comfort of that illusion. And somebody comes to break that, that person is treated as an enemy. Whereas they don't realize the illusion that you have created is your enemy actually. I'm just trying to help there. So that is why I said it is a triggering video, because it exposes, it suddenly shakes all your belief, all the conditions that you are made to believe from your birth will suddenly not be liked. I can see the people who regularly like videos about spirituality, they like the buttons, they press the heart, they share and all, but when videos come like this, they are away. So it shows they have been triggered. So how do I know? Not just by your comments, but by your inactivity also, it reveals that, oh, you've been triggered. You are not in the mode of accepting. Well, that's your free will, that's your free choice. I'm not here to tell that everybody has to do this, but I'm telling you, I'm revealing everything as it is, so that you understand this concept very well. And my dear ones, this is what is called as the generational curse, the ancestral curse. We know this terminology. We have been there's something called an ancestral curse. We have these dosha, that dosha. Why? Because the suffering of the ancestors is felt through the lineages. How does the suffering of the lineage happens? It happens with this illusion, this matrix. Everybody who has who lived before you and went, your fathers, forefathers, great grandfathers, all those great grandparents, all of them have lived in this illusion and have been caught up in this play of pain and pleasure. And when they are unable to resolve it, is that they carry those imprints of the pain and they move with that. The souls move with that unresolved pain. And if you are born into that lineage by signing up a contract, because you had a contract again, unfortunately, and then you sign up in illusion with this contract because there is an enthusiasm to play the game without knowing the consequences, then you're stuck in this. And then what, you are in a certain lineage, that whole thing tumbles down to you. You are caught in the blueprint of that contract, which is what is referred to as the generational curse, the ancestral curse. The curse is that the pain bodies that tumble down, that has stumbled into your grandparents, that from there tumbled and trained your parents, and your parents unknowingly again passed on that pain or that false blueprints to you and conditioned your life and build you up into that drama, into that matrix. And you further now put it onto your children, and it goes, the curse goes. Whereas the person who has awakened to this fact and has the courage to stand here is known as the light worker who breaks the generational curse. And if you are one, you are standing for it. You are busting the myths, you are busting the whole play, the drama, and you are saying no more. The ancestors, the tradition, the lineage is going to now suffer this consequence. So you have taken a humongous task of a light warrior actually, to stand and take the pain of all this tumbling down, and it's like a huge rock that's tumbling down the hill, and you are catching that boulder, saying that no, I won't allow this to go further down my line. What a deep, unconditional love can that be, if you are operating from that field, saying that I am sacrificing so much, because it's a sacrifice, it's a big sacrifice, because it's very challenging. I told you in part 1, it's very challenging, very difficult, very, very difficult to actually do this work. So if you're standing for it, my salutations to you, dear ones. You be proud of yourself, respect yourself, value yourself. You are valued in the eyes of those who understand this. You're doing a great job if you are standing up for that and refusing to pass this to your dear children. Because now with experience, you know what your parents did, what you are doing. You are not going to put this trauma into their lives, and you are not allowing them to suffer. So as an awakened light being, you are now training them, teaching them the truths of life, of eternal truths of life, and allowing them to live in peace, allowing them to understand what this life is all about. So I hope this video helps you and you have liked this video. But if you have liked, I would look forward to your activity on this video. Like, put your hearts, put your care buttons, put your comments, and let me know how it works in your life. Share with what's going in your life, and share this video with people who are very ready to take up this huge task of divine love and light. So with this, I take your leave, and if needed a part 3 or something, I'll come with it. But if you have any questions, you can always shoot an instant messenger message to me, or put it in the comments, and I'll try to clear this again as much as possible. And in this whole game, dear ones, just like you, even I am also traveling on this same path, and I am also bound by all the challenges, but I know it's for all good. So with this, lots of divine love and light to you.